Welcome back to 70 Years and Beyond. I'm Wambui, and this is episode 3 of our High-Tech Woes series. Now, we've talked about technology disconnecting us and those tricky QR code menus. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that a few of you have requested that I make a comment about, and that is the self-checkout lanes. So if you've ever found yourself arguing with a machine that keeps saying unexpected item in the bagging area, then this episode is for you. Now, I'm going to be totally transparent. I think I have used self-checkout in my whole entire life since self-checkout became a thing. I think I've used it maybe 4, at the most 5, but maybe 4 times in my life. I tried it, I didn't like it, and I decided I was not going to use it. And so I will avoid a self-checkout lane no matter what. If it means I have to wait in line for half an hour until I can be checked out by a real person, that is exactly what I do. So I always give myself plenty of time when I go to the supermarket because I don't want to do self-checkout. Now, I know that self-checkout exists in drugstores and almost any place that's a big store, Home Depot, everything. My friendly crafting store has self-checkout. The other day I was in there and I just had one skein of yarn and I was waiting, and the people who work there kept saying, "Oh, you can just go ahead. If you're going to pay with a card, look at all these empty machines." And I said, "No, I'll just wait," because I wanted to wait for a real person to check me out. Now, let me tell you how it used to be. And for those of you who are maybe new to the channel, I always tell people I was born in Greensboro, North Carolina in the 1950s. And what I remember the grocery stores or shopping being like is that you would go to the store, especially a grocery store, you'd go get your cart and you'd get your food. Now, if you were getting just a few things, usually 10 items or less, there was an express lane so that the people who only had a few things could get out quickly. And those people who were doing major shopping, who were getting a lot of items, then you get in the regular line. And when you got to checkout, there was usually a very friendly person there who would greet you and who would talk, small talk about the weather or, the price of goods and things like that. But usually, many times, the person who was checking you out had checked you out before, so they weren't good friends with you. You weren't the kind of friends where they'd come to your house and you go to theirs, or you even saw them outside of the store. But they were friendly enough to know, "Oh, I haven't seen your son in a long time," or, "Oh, did the little girl's arm heal okay from when she broke it?" Or somebody might say, "I know you'll be glad when the holidays come and your daughter comes home from college," because they were used to seeing the same families over and over. And so the small talk, you just knew of somebody's family. You remember seeing them with a certain amount of kids, and if they only came with so many kids that day, they'd say, "Well, where are the other kids today? What are you doing today?" And it was just small talk, and it always felt good, and I still love that, and I still love getting in the line so that a human can check me out. And I'll always do that. I mean, it's going to have to be some really dire emergency before I go through a self-checkout lane. In addition to that courtesy and how nice it was to talk to a real person, they actually bagged the groceries for you. Either they bagged as they were scanning, or they scan everything and then bag it for you while you waited for them to do that. Or there were bag people. In fact, that was a common job for young teenagers or people who were entering the work market to have. They would be the bag people. And so as the cashier was scanning, they'd be bagging up your things for you. And let me tell you this, the bags were included in the price of the groceries. I I know I went to the store. Every time I go to the store now, they always ask, do you need a bag? Because if I do need a bag, they're going to charge me, well, maybe 5 cents for the bag or something like that. I was in a store the other day where they charged me. Let me show you. So this is what I usually take when I go to the store. This bag right here holds a lot of stuff in it, and it's easy to carry because I can double up on this handle like this. So this is one of my shopping bags that I use. And then many times I have bags in a bag. Okay, so this is a real go-to shopping bag. This holds a lot too, but it doesn't really close all the way. So that's why I prefer this one that has the zipper most of the time when I'm getting a lot of stuff. And now this is the bag that I got at the store that cost me 40 cents. I went in to get just a few things and I wasn't prepared. I didn't really know that I was going to be shopping that day, but I went in and they charged me 40 cents to get this bag. Now, I remember when the bags were included in the price of what you were buying in the store, but no more. Now, I know the high-end stores, they don't mind giving you a bag. In fact, I have a bag in here. This is my bag from one of my favorite stores, if not my favorite store in New York City, from B&H. And they give you a bag. They love giving you bags. And sometimes I have to say, okay, I have enough bags. I don't need the bag. But they don't mind giving you a bag, and it's included already. I mean, I know the price is probably built into, the service or whatever you're paying for. You're paying for the bag. The bag, especially a bag like this is not free. So they build it in. And I think all the stores used to do that, but now they charge extra for the bags. Except, like I said, the high-end stores, they don't mind giving you a bag. And then there's the question of, okay, so you have paid for your groceries now, and you told the cashier, I have my own bags, and now the cashier has scanned everything and rung it up and told you how much it is that you need to pay, and so now you've paid. So now, there you are. And sometimes there's a long line behind you. And so there you are with your bags. And so now you are the person who's packing this up. Now, I don't know if this is true all over the country. I'm only speaking from I live in New York City. That's what's going on in New York City. I understand that in some parts of the country, they still have the old days where, they have self-checkout, but at the same time, the people who check you out, cashiers, will put your things, or they have someone to put your things in a bag, just like the old days. But every place that I've been in New York, especially the grocery stores, you got to do it yourself. So now you've checked out, you've paid, and there's all your stuff sitting on the counter. So now you have to take all your items and put each item in the bag. And so sometimes I used to feel a little anxious about I would just want to hurry and do it because I felt like I'm holding up the people behind me, because as long as I'm standing in front of that cashier, no one else can use that cashier. So I would always try to do it real hurriedly. Sometimes I just throw everything back in the basket and then push it over near the door to bag up my things. Now I take a little more time, and I feel like why am I rushing and being anxious about trying to get out of the way when it doesn't seem like it bothers the store people, that they don't. What it is I think in the new stores that are to be built in the future, if we still have this thing where you bag your own products, even if you use a human cashier, that we're bagging our own stuff. I think the stores will be built with a bagging station, because what I find is once I've checked out, okay, I have my groceries, I got my bags, there's people in line, they want that cashier. So, but there's nowhere to go to, set up my bag so that I can put my groceries in the bag. Now, let me tell you what was a determining factor for me that really sealed the deal about not using the self-checkout lanes. Now, that is because I saw some videos online, on YouTube probably, and I read a few articles that talked about how if you misscan something in checkout, or something scans wrong, or you think you paid for something but you didn't, and you put it in the bag, now you're held responsible for that. It's up to you to explain how you got that item without paying for it. I even saw, now maybe, I know some things online are not real. I know there's a lot of things that are exaggerated, especially today. You can't tell what is and what isn't. But I did see, I saw a couple of videos that dealt with, one of them talked about a woman that had bought some things at one of the big box stores and got home, and the next day the police visited her because they said she had stolen an item because it had misscanned. And she's saying that she wasn't trying to steal anything. She thought it had scanned. And so when I hear these kinds of stories about how no matter what happens at the scanner, you're responsible for malfunctions or misscans or anything that might look like you were stealing something, or you took something and you didn't pay for it, or you didn't pay the right price for it, then it becomes your job to prove that you didn't take that item on purpose. And so that is one of the main reasons too why I just steer clear of self-checkout lanes. Something else I've noticed too. I've noticed that some of these stores have room for 25, maybe 30 human cashiers. And when these stores first opened, all 35 of those stations were full all the time. Now, out of that 25 and 30 stations for cashiers, sometimes I see 3, maybe 4 real person cashiers. And I wonder, are they doing that on purpose, or are they purposefully understaffing the real cashier stations to force us to go over to the self-checkout lane? Now, I have to say that recently I've been hearing that this technology, the self-checkout lane, is starting to cause a little friction. It's backfiring a little bit in that, guess what? Not everybody is as honest as they should be. And there are people who are on purpose misscanning, not scanning, skipping things that should be scanned. And so loss prevention in some of these stores have decided they're going to cut back on the self-checkout, because there are some people who do get carried away and feel that it's okay to just kind of scan this, but kind of just throw that in the bag. So they are checking that and moving back and backing away from too much self-checkout. Now a lot of places are saying you can only do self-checkout if you have just a few items. Young people today who have grown up with self-checkout don't miss what they've never experienced. They don't remember when excellent customer service was the absolute norm, when stores competed on how well they treated customers. Those of us who lived through decades of genuine attentive service feel the difference keenly. I thought customer service would get better over time. Not that we turn everything over to machines and charge extra for what used to be free. Look, I understand self-checkout has its place. When you have just 1 or 2 items, you're in a real hurry. And I know these machines can be efficient for people comfortable with technology. But the trend of replacing human cashiers everywhere concerns me. We're losing those small daily interactions that remind us we live in a community of people. At the end of the day, the question is this: do we want efficiency above all else, Or do we value human connection and genuine service? You see, I believe we can have both technology that serves us without replacing all human interaction. Speaking of which, next week, we'll tackle the maze of automated phone systems and the endless quest to reach a real human being when we need help. Thank you for watching, and please share your self-checkout experiences in the comments. I know many of you have some interesting stories to tell. This is Wambui from 70 Years and Beyond, reminding you that every day, no matter how high-tech or hectic, is a gift. See you next time.